He got me at the Cheesecake Factory, y'all. I ain't getting out this car. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yes.
Would you want me to open the door for you?
Look.
You're recording me?
Yeah. Yeah. This is the Cheesecake Factory. This is the Cheesecake Factory, y'all.
What's the problem with that?
This is a chain restaurant. Who takes someone that looks like this to a chain restaurant?
You want to talk about it? I'm fine with talking about it, even in front of them.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Come on, get up on in the car. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Oh, okay.
Okay. So,
yes, let's talk about it. About it.
So you expect a man to go all out on the first date. Is that right?
I mean, you're supposed to. When you take out a beautiful woman and you're courting her, because I get courted. So you're courting her, right? You're supposed to take care of her. You're supposed to cover her. You're supposed to protect her, cherish her, treat her well, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do.
I agree. I went into this date as I expect, with the expectations for myself to keep you safe, to respect you, to pay for your food, of course, pick you up, of course, and just treat you like a gentleman, which I believe I have done.
I mean, you've been pretty nice, but I mean,
and then
Cheesecake Factory.
I, on the other hand, have certain expectations for a girl I go out with on the first date. I expect her to be respectful too. I expect her to be cooperative, and at least
what did I do that wasn't cooperative?
Well, I mean, even when we were walking to the car, you wouldn't put your hand around my arm or anything like that, or hold my hand or anything like that.
I mean, it's too early for that.
Okay.
I don't know you.
I can respect that. Okay. When I got to your apartment to pick you up, you didn't want to invite me in. I can respect that too. We're not
again.
Maybe we're not there
yet.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
And then, but
I mean, I feel like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do as a woman.
But
I got myself all made up.
There's nothing wrong with the Cheesecake Factory, right?
Yes, there's a lot wrong with the Cheesecake Factory.
Okay, well, look at my plan where we were gonna go originally.
See, now that's where we should have went. All right there. Call him.
No.
What do you mean no?
See, I specifically told you both yesterday and this morning that I'd come to pick you up at 4 p.m. Right? And I got to your place at 4 p.m. You didn't even come downstairs for another hour, and so I was waiting downstairs for an hour. Right?
But I wasn't expecting for work to take me so long. I got home a little late, and like I said, I don't know you well enough to invite you up into my apartment, and that is not possible.
And that's why I'm thinking, okay, if we're not there in the relationship to meet at your apartment, then maybe we're not ready in a relationship for such a nice fancy restaurant as Aria, especially if I'm paying for the whole thing, which I'm still willing to do. I would have been, but if we're late, I told you twice.
It wasn't that late.
We literally left your place at the time the reservation was supposed to be. And I specifically said 4 because maybe we could get there early and even have some time to get to know each other on the way there and while we're in the parking lot.
I mean,
I'm waiting for a reservation.
We can still get to know each other. Isn't there another restaurant you can call that, the equivalent to that? I mean,
I literally
you don't understand. Look at me. I cannot go in the Cheesecake Factory.
There's nothing wrong with
I will die. That's embarrassing.
Listen, as I said, I have very specific certain expectations for that. I can tell it's not gonna be there. And maybe we're not right for each other. So respectfully, I'm
Oh
gonna
no,
just
he
drop you
didn't.
off at home.
Oh no, he didn't.
Yeah, I'm a,
So you just want to call it a night? I mean, isn't
yeah.
there some kind of compromise or something?
After she said no, he didn't, I would have said yes, I did.
I
Ladies, can you believe this?
Yes,
I'm sorry, y'all.
better believe it.
But
Out of the parking space.
I if I don't feel
Can you
respected,
see?
I
I mean,
am not gonna go through with the rest of
come
the date.
on. Well, I mean, you are serious. You're really leaving.
Yeah, I mean you didn't want this place anyway, right?
I mean,
That's
I understand that I was late. I understand that. I understand that I could have been a bit more cooperative. You made some good points. That's why I'm willing to compromise. Are you sure you want to go home?
uh, I don't have a lot of rules. I don't have a lot of expectations for a first date, but I've already set them, and you've broken every one.
Oh my
So
god.
I'm sorry. We're dropping you off home.
All right, whatever. Well, I mean, I guess I understand. You got to do what you got to do.
I'd have booted her ass right out of the car. What's up, family? Welcome to another exciting edition of Random Topic Sundays here on my channel,
I
YouTube
understand where you're coming
786. Wherever you are, hope you're blessed and doing safe. And that's just look at that face right there. That this man dodged the bullet because this actually, if he had been dating this, she would basically be ruining his whole life. He would be like Will Smith right now. And this was a first date. Well, it's the first and last date. And it's backfired for a woman like this. Now, I don't know this lady's name. It's been posted by a Monique Santos, who I thought this was her, but apparently she's saying she has nothing to do with the video. She released this out on TikTok to the Daily Mail. I take it she probably follows this woman or saw this video and and it was trending. And everybody has commented on this, but she basically was upset at this man for not taking her to a decent restaurant and taking her instead to the Cheesecake Factory. Now, honestly, if you were listening or paid attention to the video, what we learned is that he had made plans, the gentleman you saw there, to another restaurant, but because she was running late, they missed the reservation. Reservations were at 4 o'clock at another restaurant. So the backup was to go to a Cheesecake Factory. And he goes like a gentleman, tries to open a door for her to get out the car so they could go in. And she didn't want to go there because it was beneath, I guess this is a chain restaurant. And obviously, a chain restaurant is beneath her. But here's the thing, this is a first date. It's a first date. It is not that like they've been married for 5 years. You were late. And she tried to say, well, I wasn't that late, but you were late enough to miss the reservation and had the nerve to get upset when he took you to another restaurant, which I'm sure you weren't be paying for. And you would have had a problem with that if he said we could go Dutch. There's nothing wrong with the Cheesecake Factory. What's wrong is her attitude. And we are here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome live. If you just tuned in, whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're blessed and doing safe. We are, yes, indeed, we are feeding the needy because we are roasting these Hellraisers today. This woman who hasn't been identified, but she thought this, and this woman, we don't know her name, she hasn't been identified, but I believe this took place. I'm guessing this looks like this was in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm I'm guessing. I could be wrong just by the location of it. But she put this video up on TikTok thinking that she was going to drum up some sympathy for her, but instead it's backfired. Just like when you had the women doing the the videos in the gym about the men staring at them or not helping them when they're in trouble, and women, I'm being checked out by a perv. It backfired on them because they were looking to gaslight and get attention. Well, she got the attention she wanted, but for all the wrong reasons. They had agreed to go to a restaurant at 4 p.m., but she did not come down from her apartment for another hour without him being invited up to wait. And he made this reservation, but that the unforeseen delay meant that they missed it. So I had plans for another fancy restaurant. You didn't. So the woman was undertiered and says, isn't there another restaurant you can call that is equivalent to that? You fucked this up and dare ask somebody who, if he made the reservations, I'm sure he put his money down to take care of it. To take care of it. He's paying for this. But she is so arrogant that she asks him, has the nerve to ask to take him to another restaurant, won't even step out the car. And the guy rightfully says, I'm going to take you back home because this was hella rude. Can we talk about it? There's nothing to talk about with women like this. But you see, this is about how women today, especially some, not all women, but I talked about this on my channel this past Thursday, how some black women are going too far. They are so entitled and selfish. Women like Cynthia G, that woman who has so much disdain and hatred in her heart for black men. Yeah, Captain She Bangs. That's what I call her. I mean, I've never seen, especially in today's world, this is a dangerous time to be a straight heterosexual male. Yet alone a black man. A black man's got it worse in this country. But when you're straight, when you're a straight heterosexual black man that don't have a falsetto voice, you don't have a falsetto voice, you got balls, your nuts have dropped, you are a threat. And you got to deal with it from your women too. That makes it even worse. That's the travesty. But of course, this wasn't a black man that she was doing this to. But I'm going to be talking about another black woman who, at one point, I've lost all respect for in Jada Pinkett-Smith. This is another Hellraiser. See, these aren't women. These are Hellraisers. Every time they open their mouth and say something to belittle their men, like Jada Pinkett-Smith, she thinks I've seen women trying to defend her saying she's just speaking her truth. No, she's raising hell. All the stuff that happened, that we saw happen with Will, I want to say for the last 3 years. Let's just go back to 2020 when they did the sit down at Red Table Talk. And she talked about how she was in entanglement with August. That was in 2021. I'm sorry. Before that, of course, was the entanglement with August Alsina. But Jada Pinkett-Smith has been going on this book tour and just dropping stuff, embarrassing her husband over and over again. Now, yes, they're separated and estranged, but if you're talking about your husband like this, so she says she will live with a estranged husband, Will Smith, again one day to take care of him because he's getting old. The man is 55. He's not 80 years old. I think eventually we will live together again. I really do. Will's getting old. I'm staying quite young, but it's getting apparent to me that he's going to need someone to they're in the same freaking age range. How the fuck you staying young? So she's basically saying she married her father. This ski ball headed wench, man. Chris Rock, and look, I know especially a lot of people out there have defended Will Smith for slapping Chris Rock. I've seen Harvey, I've seen say stuff about it. I've seen other people talk about it. I know Nicole, and I'm friends with all of them, Nicole, Harvey, and a few others. I know Taj was happy about it because well, of course, Chris Rock has taken shots at Michael Jackson. So I understand where it's coming from. But and this is not me attacking them. I want that to be clear. But I've also been on the record with them saying I disagree. And I think it's not because they know that Will Smith did something wrong. They say he's wrong, but it's just the fact that we just don't like Chris Rock. Chris Rock's an asshole. But this woman essentially has ruined what is left with her marriage. She's not speaking her truth. She's speaking from La La Land. She's 52 and Will Smith is 55 years old. That's only a 3-year age difference. She's not 20 years old younger than Will Smith. Will Smith is still in great shape. Will Smith, if he divorced Jada Pinkett-Smith right now, he'll still be fine because he can get a younger woman. He's Will motherfucking Smith. I saved the world multiple times from aliens. Independence Day, Men in Black. I also fought fucking zombies. And he's getting ready to do that movie. And he basically risked his freedom, his career, for a woman who has blatantly disrespected him on multiple occasions. I would have, but then again, as you know, I'll just give a hint. The spousal privilege is gone. Wink, wink. out everywhere. So excuse me about that. I'm sorry. I think YouTube got in touch with Cox to shut it down. So man, well, welcome. Smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Let's start over. We're gonna start this one over. Please, please, please donate to the cat. I wanna if you would like to donate, I'm not begging. If I'm worth my time, and if you think I'm worth my time, then contribute. Donate to the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle that you see there. We were talking about Hellraisers and getting them roasted, but I want to just first off, before I get into that, I want to just say rest in peace. Get back to that. I'm gonna start over and give a different topic. So this happened earlier today. We learned that Suzanne Summers, who was known for her role as Chrissy Snow on Three's Company, as well as for me, I remember as Carolyn on Step by Step. If you're a kid from the 90s, you remember that show Step by Step, Day by Day, with her and Patrick Duffy, who played her husband, but he's known as Bobby Ewing from Dallas. But yeah, she passed away earlier today after a long battle with an aggressive form of breast cancer. So I remember her also from the 90s when she did TV shows. She did the infomercials as well as those TV shows, but she did the infomercials for that Thigh Master back in the 90s, if y'all remember. So she was and she was a very attractive woman. I'm not gonna knock her for that. She was a gorgeous woman, but she got fired infamously. As popular as the show Three's Company was in the 70s, she got fired actually because she was trying to get more money from ABC and was causing, uh, I guess, a problem for ABC. Uh, there was constant fights with John, with the cast and the crew. They were upset because her husband, who was a manager, was basically kept asking for more money over and over again. It was affecting the theme of the show. It was affecting the chemistry. So she got fired. She got fired, but and she had just announced 2 months ago that she was battling cancer again. So she had been married for over. She's been married twice, actually, and she had one child from her previous marriage, and she married her next second husband who had children of his own, and she survived by uh, those children and her grandchildren. I believe she has 6 total. So yeah, I was a big
And that breaking news is the death of actress Suzanne Summers. Her longtime publicist confirmed her death this afternoon, saying she passed away after battling breast cancer. She was 76 years old. Tomorrow would have been her 77th
right.
birthday. Her acting career spanned decades, but she was probably best known for her role as Chrissy Snow on the television show Three's Company.
Come and knock on our door.
I was the first female who asked to be paid parity with men, and I got shot down. So who would have thought that Chrissy Snow would be the feminist?
Besides being an actress, she was also a well-known and successful entrepreneur. Her family
I hate this internet.
To be paid parity with men, and I got shot down. So who would have thought that Chrissy Snow would be the feminist?
Besides being an actress, she was also a well-known and successful entrepreneur. Her family says they Summers. Her longtime publicist confirmed her death this afternoon, saying she passed away after battling breast cancer. She was 76 years old. Tomorrow would have been her 77th birthday. Her acting career spanned decades, but she was probably best known for her role as Chrissy Snow on the television show Three's Company.
Come and knock on our door.
I was the first female who asked to be paid parity with men, and I got shot down. So who would have thought that Chrissy Snow would be the feminist?
Besides being an actress, she was also a well-known and successful entrepreneur. Her family says they plan to gather tomorrow to celebrate her 77th birthday. Instead, they say they will now celebrate her life. Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Torres. Sandra is off tonight. Entertainment reporter Sandy Kenya will have more on the life of Suzanne Summers. That's coming up on Eyewitness News at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, but I remember her from this show. Who remembers Step by Step? Step by step, day by day. Rush round over, different hand to play. Yeah, that was big. And it's sad, especially as we're getting older, because the people that were part of your childhood, part of our youth, are no longer around. But she was a very dynamic actress. She was a blonde, gorgeous woman, blonde. Uh, I enjoyed her shows. I enjoyed Step by Step. That's the show I remember. But yeah, may she rest in peace. Cancer. I've seen what cancer can do. I've never had family. I don't. I have a cousin who had been battling breast cancer before. Luckily, she's still around. But I know especially breast cancer, is a very challenging thing. I've seen what it can do. So may she rest in peace. But yeah, she would have been 77 on yesterday, so it's hard to believe. She was surrounded by her loving husband, Alan, her son, Bruce, and her immediate family. I had an aunt who died on her 55th birthday. My aunt Ellen would have died exactly on her birthday. She was born on December 28th or 27th, and she died the same birthday on her birthday. So it was her anniversary of her birth and her death. That was tragic. And my grandparents were still alive actually when she passed, so they were devastated. None to say none, at least by her passing. But yeah, I have memories of them, and that's how there'll always be a lot around. So I would be sure to do a squat and move my thighs in and out just for her. No, but rest in peace, Suzanne Summers. So blessings to her and her family. All right. So let's get back. I'm sorry about that. I wanted to talk about these Hellraisers. Tupac is even. I don't know what's happening with the internet, y'all, but Tupac's brother has even said they weren't talk tight like that. But I'm just to the point where Jada just needs to shut the hell up. And they've been killing her with the meme. Somebody wrote, "This is Jada and Smith and Tupac."
Okay. Hello. I know I want to freshen up.
I wish you would freshen up too. Get up here. Come on.
Oh, you want this?
Yeah, who's it? Who's it?
Daddy, kick it like you own it.
You run from me. Come here.
Oh, okay. Hello. I know I want to
That's Jada and Tupac tonight when that book dropped. I mean, she's been everywhere just talking about this. They're going to be a documentary, Surviving Jada. I mean,
way. Do you feel that you can have a friendship that is like a soulmate friendship that doesn't necessarily include the romantic, version?
Absolutely. We have soulmates. Our children can be our soulmates. I think
No.
this kind of romanticized idea of like a soulmate, there's all kinds of definitions of soulmate.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I don't think if there is such a thing as past lives,
Mhm.
definitely think Pac and I have traveled a few together, in various forms. So
Has there ever been a time that you regretted the decision that you made not to take it to that level with him and to keep it in the friendship space?
it just wasn't possible. There was no chemistry between us. I talk
that
about
means
it.
you regret it. That means you regret it. If you're a soulmate, let me just correct what she said. She said her and Pac were soulmates, and your children can be your soulmate, your siblings can be your soulmate. No, that's not what a soulmate is. A soulmate is a person that you're connected to. Your souls, your spirits intertwine. And when you genuinely get married, that's by definition, it's a person who you're suited to another as a romantic partner. Now they do say as a close friend, but as a person with whom you have a deep affinity to. You're a married woman. Your spouse typically is supposed to be your soulmate. You gotta propose. If she's claiming he proposed to her in prison, she wasn't married. Even if she were dating Will Smith in the 90s, she didn't have to stay dating with Will. She could have broken it off and married Tupac. Tupac was engaged. Let's not forget, this is who Tupac proposed to. Kidada Jones. This was Tupac's fiance at the time of his death. She was the one at the hotel when he went out with Suge and got killed, and she was the one by his bedside when he died. Jada didn't go up there. That's Tupac's girl. I wonder what she's saying about this stuff. That's Tupac's fiance.
No, but that's just so hard to imagine. At the time, he was in a bad, he was in a space where, he was in jail and all that. But it's just hard to believe that we see chemistry with the two of you guys. Even in the videos you guys dance, and there seems to be so much chemistry. But from your perspective,
chemistry, it's that friendship, love chemistry. Trust me. Let me tell you, don't think that Pac and I, like I write in the book, we had those moments, and I wish I could get people to understand the repelling nature. It was almost like God made us that way. It was like, look, I'm gonna put y'all together. All right, y'all gonna be a dynamic duo. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna make it so. Y'all not gonna be able to get together because that just wasn't the purpose. And I know it's so hard, but we had and it wasn't just me. Yeah, him too. too.
Him too.
Oh, brother. I mean, so we have someone that keeps talking about a dead man like they were married. But this is what Will Smith laid up to in this Hellraiser has been getting roasted. And that's what we're talking about here. These are Hellraisers. I don't want to see. I have great respect, or I did, for Will Smith because of what he built the last 30 years of his life. You think about it, Will Smith has been the poster boy, the epitome of black success. Rich, handsome, successful. He's built, not only that, he built a career for him, not just a career for himself, but his entire family, because everybody associated with him, his kids and even his wife, Jada Pinkett-Smith, because her last name is Smith, and even the mother-in-law, they wouldn't be anything without him. Jada is not even that great of an actress. She was decent. She's had, and look, she's a good actress, but Jada was never an A-list star. She was doing hood movies. Menace to Society. She did Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. That's what I remember for. I like that movie. The Inkwell was another one. She was on a different world. And she was playing almost as virtually the same character, yet she married one of the most successful men in Hollywood. She married the backup option. But Will Smith chose this. And he no matter what. This is a Hellraiser. This is a Hellraiser. Her and a woman we saw in that Cheesecake Factory video. These are the type of women that drive men nuts. We wonder why suicide rates are high. Why divorce rates are high. This is the mentality of some of these women. It's disturbing. Divorced and separated men were nearly 2.4 times more likely to kill themselves than their married counterparts. This is according to the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health. Stress kills. Y'all gotta forgive me. I gotta eat. She was usually second fiddle in movies she's been in. She's never had a starring role. Yes, of course, we all remember Wu. These are the suicide. This is a suicide rate. They said divorced and separated men were nearly 2.4 times more likely to kill themselves. And you're worried about that because stress kills, guys. Marriage is hard, but men, don't stay with somebody that don't respect you. And I know some of it may be for personal beliefs, religion. Will got divorced previously, and he remembers how painful that was. But you married somebody that don't love you. I'd rather be. I'd rather be single and happy than be married and lonely and unloved. This woman has lost her senses, and I don't want to read, a couple of months from now that Will Smith is dead due to a gunshot wound to the head, self-inflicted gunshot wound. I don't want to hear that. Will Smith has built up so much, and yeah, I think he should be working again. Yes, I don't think he should have been. Um, I think he should never work again. He should lose everything. No, of course not. Yes, he should still work. He's lucky. But let's be real. If Will Smith had done that to anybody else and he wasn't Will Smith, he would have been arrested, and nobody would have thought twice if what he did with Chris Rock. They had an executive, and this also hurts them business wise because remember, as a couple, they built such a dynamic, a powerhouse. 90% of it will, but an executive said that she torched the marriage after Will vowed to save it. They were working on their marriage until July 2020 when she confirmed in a joint on-air appearance with Will that she had been involved with August Alsina. She destroyed their marriage. And now she's stating, so she's saying Red Table Talk will be coming back. I would never watch it. Who's going to watch that? And yeah, Jada also, Chris Rock hates being dragged into it because Jada was talking about how he tried to clap them cheeks and holler at her, and that's why Will attacked him. And this was the point where they were separated. So I don't get if they were separated allegedly, and you're saying, well, that was because Chris had tried to holler at me. Then what was the big deal with the entanglement with August? That you had an affair. Why was Will acting the way he did if y'all had been separated and the marriage was essentially over? This is delusion. And who's to say Chris Rock hollered at her? This delusion. The next thing I want to talk about, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that notification bell. Before I get out of here, I had to talk about this. I'm done with this Hellraiser. So there was a race for Louisiana governor that many people had expected would go into a runoff, but unfortunately, that is not the case. And Jeff Landry, who is the Attorney General of Louisiana, who is a Republican, won by over 51% of the vote of the voting turnout in Louisiana. And many people now, especially beep, 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 welcome to TV. Oh wait, I got fired from TV1. Roland Martin and others are starting to attack Black Democrats, Black people in particular, for not showing up to vote and complaining about how low the voter turnout was as the reason why uh, the Saints, I'm sorry, I said the Saints, as the reason why, well, he's deceiving, but Jeff Landry won was because we didn't do what we were supposed to do and show up to vote. But the thing about the whole election process, because I'm in Louisiana, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to give it to you straight. Is that number one, we know that the Democratic Party for years has taken Black people for granted. And they're stating that this was the reason why the Black vote, the Black vote didn't turn out. And you had Roland Martin write this shit. He says, how in the hell did Black voters, how in the hell, Swollen Martin wrote this, how in the hell did Black voters in Louisiana not turn out in major numbers to keep this sadistic man out of the governor's mansion? And Tariq, of course, called it out. The Democrats are constantly disrespecting Black voters, ignoring our needs while flooding Black neighborhoods with hostile, undocumented immigrants and funding them without tax dollars. And they have the nerve to be appalled that the Black voter turnout was low. First off, let's get some facts straight for Swollen and others. Louisiana, as you all know, as many people know, is what I like to call blue dog conservative, where it is predominantly, yes, it is Democrat, but it is mostly still conservative. Sean Wilson, who was the top Democratic candidate, he received 25% of the votes. He didn't even come close. There were at least, I counted, you can look at this. There was over about 16 candidates, well over that, running for governor. Jeff Landry is more known than Sean Wilson and Steve Wagwasack. There was also Hunter Lundy that was running for governor. And yet they found the need of trying to blame Black people. It's always blaming Black people for what happens when something goes wrong. But when we do something right, when we do vote and show up, you give us nothing in return. Louisiana has a population of 4.6 million people. New Orleans has the largest population in Louisiana. All right. And you factor that in, you add all of that in with that population. How is it you can blame, especially when we speak from a demographic standpoint, how is it all on Black people that we don't get who we want into office? You got 64 parishes. Orleans, yes, predominantly is Democratic, and it is predominantly Black. And the last governor's race, John Bell Edwards ran against Eddie Rispone, and 99% of the Black voter turnout voted for John Bell Edwards. John Bell Edwards became governor again because of Black people. But what did John Bell Edwards promise to give Black people? John Bell, not a damn thing. And John Bell Edwards, while I will say this, he was a decent governor, he was not the greatest thing that we had. we had new laws that were put in place. There were some things that were good, but there were some things like the resisting an officer law that he had now that could be a felony. You also had that situation with the state troopers that roughed up the black man up in Monroe, where he was notified of it and said very little to and the congressional said very little about it, and the Congressional Black Caucus caught him because it was apparent he received a message for it about what was going on with the death of this man by the police department. And it appeared, I believe the brother's name was Ronald Green. We did a show on him. Yeah. Ronald Green was the brother that was killed by the state troopers up in Monroe. That deadly arrest. And he got confronted. And the only reason why he got confronted in his death in being complicit in it, meaning he was hiding something allegedly, he was spared because the bipartisan review fizzled. So you cannot put everything on black people when it goes south and you don't have your way, but then refuse to give the credit and give us anything when it does go your way. So yes, he was scrutinized for this. The probe ended earlier this year. They demanded answers, and they quietly abandoned their work without hearing from the governor or issuing any findings. So there was nothing done. And yet you think I'm supposed to come out and vote for this party? I'm registered as a Democrat. I'm actually going to be switching over to, I say it, but I will be switching to independent. But you cannot give and tell black people what they can and can do, and then not give them and follow through with anything. I want y'all to look at these numbers. So this was in 20, this is according to, this is a link here on Wikipedia. They give a breakdown of Republican, Democrat, and for presidential election. Just look here. Only where you see in bold and black, that means who won. So Louisiana from 2020 to 2000, this is 20 years, red, 52, 56, 58, 57, 58%, 58.46. Louisiana is blanketed, always blanketed in red. This is, yeah. That's John Bell Edwards. And he was considered a conservative Democrat by some observers, which is what typically Louisiana is. And I'm not going to lie, John Bell Edwards, and I met him before, he was pretty nice to me. But it's not personal, it's business. Every election should be about business. It should not be about it is not about who looked nice and who's this and that. And you're trying to blame black people for not showing up to vote when you didn't give them nothing to vote for. That's what we should be talking about. Not why Louisiana black voters didn't show up. Yes, why didn't they show up? You didn't provide a candidate for us to go out with. Why haven't you shown up? Why do you show up around election year and not all the time when we need you. You do this all the time. I didn't want Eddie Risponi as president. I didn't want Eddie Risponi as governor. So yeah, I voted for John Bell Edwards, but Sean Wilson, and that's the thing too. Sean Wilson has said he was a weak candidate. He didn't run any ads. I can't tell you my favorite Sean. I couldn't tell you Sean Wilson's television ad because he didn't have any. Not in Orleans. So when I saw that, and I know people who know him. I know people who knew him who tried to get him in, get money behind his campaign, and he refused to take it. He didn't run to me an effective campaign, but I'm supposed to vote because, oh, we don't want Landry. It don't work that way. Way voting works, especially if you are an employer or employer, if you're a business person, you hire somebody to do a job, you don't pick a person, if you got two candidates, or three candidates, whoever, you don't go, well, I don't like this one. So he's doing without asking them, what are their qualifications? Nobody has done that. Nobody can tell me, yeah, Sean Wilson, this is his website. He had no TV ads that I saw running on Orleans television. And Orleans is your biggest population. That is your strong base. Was it because they took it for granted? Did you learn from the lessons of 2016, a la Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump? I don't think you have. So stop crying and complaining about people not showing up to vote when you didn't give them nothing to vote for. And I'm gonna land my plane there. And I see people may be mad when they see this broadcast and say, Gavin, how can you speak like that? I'm speaking facts. George Carlin said this, garbage in, garbage out. George Carlin was a white boy that didn't vote. And the biggest excuse, the biggest lie that y'all push is if you don't vote, you don't complain. Well, actually, it's in reverse. If you hire somebody, you can get, if you hire the wrong person, like you look at NFL coaches that bomb out and so forth, money goes, the ticket sales go down, merchandise goes down when a team is doing bad. They look at the owners because the owners are the ones who put these people in place. You put these people in place in an office. So when they do a messed up job, you shouldn't have to complain. But I, on the other hand, as George Carlin once said, I have done nothing wrong because I didn't vote. It is you who shouldn't complain. And with that, I land my plane, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, John Bell Edwards was a conservative Democrat, so he was able to win Republican voters. Sean Wilson didn't have that. Yeah, do better. With that being said, family, I'm gonna roll up on out of here. Y'all be one and be safe. Be blessed. And people losing their mind, like, how can I stay here? You've always lived. This has always been a Republican state. I don't know what y'all think was better. John Bell Edwards was a conservative Democrat. Y'all act like y'all ain't been around racists before. It's everywhere. It's in this whole country. Like Malcolm X said, if you're north of the Canadian border, you're in the South. Yeah, like Malcolm X said that. If anything south of the Canadian border is in the South, it don't matter. Thank you, CC. Thank you. I'm glad we had a great show, great talk. Y'all be one, be safe, and be blessed. Please hit up the Patreon. Also, if you like to advertise, you can click there. Email me if you like to advertise. We always support businesses, and of course, donate to the Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. If you love what you've heard, ladies and gentlemen, if you think I'm worth my time, pay me for my time. Be one, be safe, be blessed. I'm out. Love y'all. Peace. Great show.